Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. I am your humble French tarot reader and deck goblin marine, and today I wanted to chat about current favorites. We're gonna talk about decks, obviously, tarot and oracle, as these are the main subjects I chat about on this channel, but we'll also chat about miscellaneous things I've enjoyed relating to journaling and books, as there's quite a few books I wanted to share with you guys. I'll be leaving all the names of the decks and books I'm mentioning today in the description box as well, so you can find all the info you need. And down there is also where you can find all of my other social media links and my second channel, The Waves of Your Soul Readings, where I read the cards for you guys. That's where I post monthly guidance, pick up pile readings. It's a good time, so definitely check it out if you haven't yet. I actually wanted to start also with this gem, which is called the Ultraviolet Poems. This is a book by Maya, was actually sent to me by Maya, the author. She got in touch with me because she found my channel through my video around how I tarot for pain, where I share with you guys how I use tarot and oracle to help me live with chronic pain and chronic illness and disability. I leave it in the cards. Maya actually found me through this video, and she got in touch with me asking if I was keen on receiving her newest book, because she also is someone who has gone through illness, who knows what it's like to live with illness, and she also is very much into spirituality, tarot, and all of that. So of course I jumped on the occasion. I love to find like-minded souls, and I've actually been adoring reading from Maya's words. This is such a beautiful collection of poems, and I thought we could start this video by me pulling one at random, like a little bit of bibliomancy. I'll read it to you guys, and it will just be a little intention, a little prayer for all of you, a little moment where we can just come back to ourselves, as Maya's words are really gorgeous. So we'll do that. Let's see what poem we can have for today's video for all of my people watching, all of you out there. What do we need to hear? Let's see. We have Prana. There's an empty weight that envelopes in the days after. Like heartwood, I'm dead at the core. No tincture, no protein, no breathworks or salutations, not even mouth to mouth can retrieve my molten heart. Perhaps I can borrow life until mine returns. Let nature tend to the ailing, fill the hollows, keep me standing a little longer. May the wind whisper sweet energy, the river lend its quiet electricity, the rain cleans the poison, the sun melt the pain, the birds breathe song into my lungs. How beautiful. I just love Maya's words, and a lot of these poems are relating to her walking through illness, but also her connecting to nature as a way to connect to her spirituality. This is a just beautiful words that really resonate with me profoundly, and that feel so special and just really beautiful way to connect a healing journey through nature, through poetry, through spiritual growth. And I'm just so grateful that Maya sent these to me, and I hope that you enjoy this. So I wanted to make sure to start with this because these poems have been a balm to my heart. I've been reading one every few days as a little bit of bibliomancy, but also as a little moment of prayer and of coming back to myself. So I wanted to give you guys this little gift and offering as well. I also have been reading quite a bit. I've not been reading as much as last year. If you guys have watched my favorites from last year, I was bedbound a lot last year because of the mosquito illness I caught. So I mean, more bedbound than usual. I was reading a ton. This year I haven't been, I'm definitely not going to reach my 100 books a year kind of goal, because I'm way behind this year, but I have been reading some great books. Currently I'm reading The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. It's like epic fantasy, 1,000 tomes books. I think there's 5 of them. These are my first Brandon Sanderson fantasy books that I'm reading. I do have Mistborn on paper form, which is his other trilogy kind of series, which I haven't read yet, and I decided to start with The Way of Kings because I have that on my Kindle, and right now it's easier for me to read on that rather than carrying in my hands heavy books. I get tired quite quickly right now in my shoulders. So I've been reading The Way of Kings. I'm almost finished with the first book. I was very hesitant to start because for some reason I thought it was going to be very complicated, and especially because I'm reading them in English, which is not my first language, even though I consider myself fluent, but still reading epic fantasy in English sometimes is a little bit hard because there's new races, new kingdoms, places, peoples, magic systems, all in another language, obviously a lot of made up words. I will say that if you guys were like me and you've been a little bit apprehensive of getting into the Cosmere, specifically the Way of Kings, like the Stormlight Archive kind of series, these are actually much easier to read than I thought. I will say that Brandon Sanderson writing is very digestible, and regarding the magic system, he does repeat things quite regularly to make sure you get it. If you guys don't know anything about the Stormlight Archives, which is a whole series that starts with the Way of Kings, and I think this is going to be adapted either in anime form or in TV show very soon. I can't remember which one, but I heard that he had sold the rights to adaptation, which is super awesome. Is this epic world where you follow different characters. There's a lot of wars going on in this world, specifically in a place called the Shattered Plains, where after a king was assassinated, two kind of groups of beings, because they're not really humans, some of them are humans and some are not, are fighting a war due to this particular king's assassination. You follow in this story a general and his sons who are part of the nobility who fights in this war, and you also follow as one of the main characters one of the slave who also is part of this war. There's also on the other side of that other main characters you follow, mainly one young woman who wants to become a scholar, but she may be hiding a secret. This is an epic grand scale story where we have like a broken world, wars, yet this very mysterious past that everyone is trying to uncover. I won't say too much. You guys go and do your research if you're interested. What I'll say is that I read the first book in like 3 days. And it's 1,000 pages. I'm almost done. And I've only started like a few days ago. So honestly, it's actually very easy to read, and I was hooked straight away. In terms of books I have finished that I wanted to absolutely mention to you guys, this is a newer release, but I wanted to talk about The Poet Empress. It's a standalone fantasy. It's almost like, I would say, historical fantasy that is inspired by the Chinese Empire and the lives of the concubine. So the main character is a farmer girl who knows poverty. Her family and village have known poverty for a really long time. Where they are living, the land is very dry and almost like cursed in a way. They don't really understand why, but crops are not really bringing much anymore throughout the whole land, and so a struggle to find food. And so she's been living in poverty all her life, and so as a way to get out of this poverty, she decides to volunteer to be a candidate to become the potential concubine to the heir of the empire, way to remove herself from this situation and not just help herself, but hopefully help back her family and her village by gaining a position of power. However, the heir to the empire to whom she could become concubine to is said to be extremely cruel and ruthless and violent. But in a world of famine and inequality, our main character is ready to do anything to save her family. This is truly a amazingly beautiful story. One of my favorite books I've read in recent months. It's a story of family, of duty, of sacrifice. It's a story of brotherhood. There are heavy themes of violence and abuse. So please, if you're sensitive to those things, definitely check out the trigger warnings around the book, because it does touches on some very heavy topics. This is just an amazing story that left me crying, real tears. I was sobbing, properly sobbing by the end of it, to the point where I couldn't even see the book anymore. I couldn't read anything. And it's been a long time since I've cried real tears. I think the last time I cried so much for a book was probably M.L. Wang's standalone book, which was, oh god, I forgot the name now, Brain Fog. I'll put it here as well, which was also an incredible standalone fantasy. I read that last year. That was probably the last time I cried so much over a book. The Poet Empress broke my heart and then put it back together in a way that I won't forget for a really long time. So if you're looking for a powerful, very emotional yet beautiful story, I cannot recommend. That's inspired by Chinese culture, Chinese empire. That's just really with really interesting, flawed characters, then I highly recommend reading The Poet Empress. It's by Chen Tao. It was a 5-star for me, one of the highlights of my reading year for sure. And finally, I wanted to mention a duology that I absolutely loved, and this is Talent Sister by Jen Williams. Jen Williams wrote one of my favorite trilogies of all time, the Winter Night trilogy. I love these books. They're amazing. They are kind of like sci-fi mixed with fantasy, and it was the first time I read something that mixed genres, and she just has such a way with constructing words and so different to any other books you might have read before. And I think that's what I love so much about Jen Williams' books, is that they're so unique and inventive. And so in Talent Sister, this is a duology where we have 4 main POVs in this one. And in this particular world, mythical creatures were real. So unicorns and magical creatures such as unicorns and griffins, phoenixes, all existed. However, for a reason quite unknown, most of them went extinct, minus the griffins, who still exist and are living in what would be England, or I would say more so Scotland. Like in this particular world, this particular place feels very Celtic / Great Britain coded. And so we follow 4 main POVs in this particular story. The first one is a super soldier who has been tampered with Titan bones, Titan being those mythical creatures. And so she has been, she's part of an army where they infuse Titan bones into like soldier skin in order to give them superpowers, to draw on the power that these mythical creatures used to have. And so she is a soldier of an empire that is colonizing everyone, and except now that she's retiring, she kind of finds herself not really sure where to go from, as all she's known has been war. Another main POV is a small child who has been left to die in the wilderness and was found by 2 griffins, which again are the last of the Titans alive. And by the time you meet them, they are wondering if they should leave this child alive or kill it, as normally griffins and humans are complete enemies and never really like bond. Another one of the main POV is a scientist who works for the Empire and who is part of the experiments infusing the Titan bones to the soldiers, and she has found some text that would lead to a new source of Titan bones from new mythical creatures that they had never found before. So she wants to set an expedition to this secret kind of hidden city in the jungle, way far off, where they potentially could find remaining bones of Titans that were never discovered before. And finally, one last main POV is that of I would say the equivalent of a druid in the same place that in the same island that the griffins live, who tends to the forest and maintains the balance between humans and nature, and yet he is noticing that that balance has been messed up with. Really interesting world building, really interesting characters. Whilst this is just a duology, so it's quite fast paced. I read it in like a week, the 2 books. It was awesome. There's really interesting politics in the books, if you like that aspect. It was really, really great, you guys. I read the 2 books, like I said, in less than a week. So Talent Sisters is the first book, and Titan Child is the second book. Really great. Cannot recommend enough if you guys want a fantasy with something a little bit different, inspired by Celtic mythology and Celtic lore, inspired by mythical beings, interesting characters, queer love stories. There's just a lot of wonderful things in this, and I highly recommend it. Finally, I wanted to talk about the tarot book I'm reading. You guys might know I always have a tarot related or cartomancy related or spirituality related book going at all times. And so this is the one I'm currently reading. It's called Ombre et Lumière du Tarot by Carole Cédillo. This is a French author. I've had this book for years and I never got into it. And the reason why I had picked it up is because you don't just have the major arcana here explained from Tarot de Marseille. You actually have the minors as well, which is something that's been very hard to find for me, especially in like French books. A lot of them focus on major arcana only because back in the day, traditionally, French readers would only use major arcana when reading with Tarot de Marseille. It was very rare that they would use minor arcana when it comes to divination. It was just not done. You would just use the majors and that's it. So finding a book that references the minors in French by a French author has been quite tricky to find. This one I had acquired quite a few years ago, and so I'm finally going through it. I'm still in the major arcana part, which is interesting. They break down for the majors. There's quite a bit. I mean, this is all for the majors, and then this is for the minors, so you can see there's definitely more for the major arcana than the minors, but it's okay. For all of the majors, they break it down to every single symbolism. So they talk about the numbers, they talk about references to the Hebrew letter, to certain symbolism. They will talk about the color choices. Every single element on the cards is broken down and explained, which is great. There's also reference to astrology and to mythology. So here, for example, for La Maison Dieu, we have the myth of Prometheus, and then at the bottom you'll have like, I don't know if I can show you guys, but you'll have upward and reverse keywords. Do I agree with everything this author says? No. There's a couple of things that I've already how can I say that? There's a couple of things I've read so far that I'm like, I don't agree with, but that's fine. There's also a couple of like editing mistakes. They're referencing a few times the RWS, and they've called Pamela Coleman-Smith Barbara, which pissed me off. Like, put some respect on our girl, Pixie, okay? However, despite these editing mistakes and some things that I don't necessarily agree with, it's still good. It's well researched. There's definitely some things I can gain. Specifically, I like the references to the mythology. The ties between the major arcana and the mythology are interesting. And like I said, having something that references minor arcana is really good, because you guys, I'm still struggling with Tarot de Marseille. It's been, I don't know how many years that I'm supposed to be reading with Tarot de Marseille, and I still don't feel super comfortable with it. Like, I know like there's a lot of people who read with it through numerology and element, but numerology does not speak to me, you guys. When I hear people, number 8 means da-da-da, my brain is like, what? Like, that makes no sense to me. I don't speak the numbers language. I don't know what it is. There's something about numerology that makes zero sense to me. Like, when people say number 6 means that, I can't ever remember. Like, that makes no sense to me. What do you mean a number means that? Like, for me, 6 is just 6, okay? Doesn't mean, I don't get it. I don't understand numerology. It's just one of those things that my brain isn't capable of coping with. I don't know why. I just never have understood it. So I'm trying to find other ways to make sense of the minor arcana without imposing the meanings of the RWS on top, because what's the point in that, right? If I want to do that, then I just read with an RWS. So I'm still trying to find books about Tarot de Marseille that explain it to me in a way that makes sense, which are proving to be quite difficult, but I'm not giving up. I'm dedicated to trying to make sense of it. But if you have any advice of books you have enjoyed, I have Tom Benjamin's books. They're on my TBR pile, and I'll move on to those soon. I think it's called Tarot on Earth, his book on Tarot de Marseille. So I've heard good things about that, so I am hopeful that he will help me out. But if you have any other recommendations for good Tarot de Marseille books that also speak about the minors, not just in a way that's like number 6 means, because like that doesn't make sense to me, let me know. Please help a girl out. Before I move on to decks, and you guys, there are so many decks, so this is gonna be an epic long video. I've not done a favorites video in months, so there's a lot of decks I want to talk about. Move on to that. I wanted to chat about something very miscellaneous, but that I think you guys might enjoy. And I'm not sponsored. I paid for this with my own money, but it's really great. It's a mini printer. It's called in France, it's called the Zoe Mini Canon mini printer, but I think for you guys in America, England, Canada, etc., it's the Canon Ivy that you guys might be able to find. They changed the name, but it's the same thing. It's a mini printer that prints directly on sticky papers, and it has no ink. This is somewhat devilry, wizardry. This is some crazy magic. I don't know, it's with heat or something. It prints, so you don't need any ink, and it's literally a mini printer that is this big, and you put the paper in here, and it connects on Bluetooth, and then the paper comes out here, so there's no ink, nothing. You can carry this with you when you go traveling or when you're like moving around, and it prints on sticky paper, which means that all you have to do then is literally stick it in your journals. And this has transformed the game when it comes to my tarot practice, you guys, because now every time I am like doing not every reading I would print, because the paper can become quite expensive eventually, but although you can get good deals online, but any kind of like bigger readings, like a month ahead or a full moon reading, especially around an astrological transit that is important to me, I will print the image of the cards and I will stick it in my journal, and it's amazing. Like this is so practical, and what I've done, I wanted to share you with you guys. And again, I'm not sponsored, you guys. I paid for this with my own money. I actually saw this on Galencia's Instagram. I'll leave her. She also has a YouTube channel. She's a sweetie. Discovered these things to her. I'll leave it down below so you guys can check her Instagram and YouTube page. She was showing this on her Instagram around her tarot journal, and as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing, because I have a lot of white boxes in my, from MPC, that then I struggle to figure out what the deck is. So what I've done is I've taken a picture of some of my favorite cards, or a few of my favorite cards, and then I've stick them on there so that I know what the deck is. And so this is the size that it comes out, the mini printer. And obviously you don't have to take off the backside to stick it. You can just use it as a photo, but I use it as a sticker. And so here we have, this is the Velvet Heart Tarot that I got from MPC. So I took a picture of one of my favorite cards, so I know what's on there. I have the Notice Oracle also by Chanel, and I took a picture of 4 cards together, so I know exactly, I put the name so I can remember, but also like now I know what's in there. Same with this, which is the Monochromia Oracle. I took a picture of one of my favorite cards, and now I know what's on there, because I have quite a few of those white boxes MPC, and I never know what's in there. And like I can write on them, which I've done just so I can remember it, but it's not the nicest, right? It's much more pretty to have these pictures on there. So that's what I've done using this little printer. If you're interested, because I know a lot of you, like me, enjoy journaling, tarot journaling and stuff. And like I said, this, you don't have to pay for ink, you just have to pay for paper. The paper can be expensive, but there's always deals that you can find. And I personally, this has changed the game. Like, this is one of the favorite things I've bought this year. I love this so much. I did want to take a moment to thank everyone who bought mid-year readings with me. Thank you so much to everyone. I did a lot of them towards June and July. It was wonderful, and I'm so grateful to everyone who trusted me to read the card for them. It was truly a profoundly moving experience. I'm so humbled by all of your wonderful feedback, and it was just amazing to be able to read the cards for you guys in that capacity again. I really had missed that, and I hadn't been able to do that in many months because of my health. So humbled and grateful. So thank you to everyone who booked a reading with me. If you are interested, I will be offering more offerings later in the year. I'll obviously be doing your head readings closer towards the end of the year, but between that I'll do something else. I am doing them in waves by themes and stuff, just because for now that's what works best with my health. And I'm soon to go on a trip, actually, which I haven't told you guys yet because it got planned very unexpectedly. I was not supposed to travel at all for the rest of the year. Started unfolding so that I will be going back to France, to my mainland, in the end of August for a few weeks, for like 2 weeks and a half, 3 weeks. I'm gonna go see my family. I'm gonna go see my friends. I've not been back to France since before I got sick. So it's been 8 years, even though obviously that's where most of my family lives. The main reason for me going is to visit my grandmother. She's 94 now, and although she's okay, but obviously she's starting to how can I say that? Weaken, I guess, she's getting older, she's weakening, and so I feel it in my gut that if I don't go now, I might live to regret it. when my other grandmother passed, I was too sick to travel, and I'll always regret it, not being able to have seen her one more time. So this is what kind of pushed me to go on this trip. So I'll be in Paris, and then I'll be around a few places in France. I won't be doing offerings for this time, as obviously I'm planning the trip and trying to get as strong physically possible before I travel, because traveling with chronic illness, chronic pain, disability, it's a mess, you guys. There's always so much involved. I have to figure out how to get my oxygen machine where I'm going. I have to find ways to make everything disability friendly. Planning a trip when you are disabled, when you are sick, it's very hard, but I'm very grateful I still get to do it, as that was not the case a few years ago. I wouldn't have been able to do that. So even though right now it's still not as easy as if I was, someone with no issues in terms of illness or anything like that, I will still make the most of it, and I'm very grateful. So obviously I'm going to take you guys on the trip with me. Follow me on Instagram if you want to see. I'm going to Paris for almost 2 weeks to see family and friends. I'll be going to museums. I'll be visiting some places, historical places. I will be going to, if I'm physically able to, I will be going to le cimetière du Père Lachaise. This is right next to my Airbnb. And so I'll be visiting Mademoiselle Lenormand's grave if I can. And so all of those things. So definitely follow me on Instagram if you want to follow along for these adventures in August, like middle of August, end of August. And I'll try and film videos so I can share with you on YouTube as well. Do a little vlog maybe in September, sharing with you my trip when I'm back. All of that to say, there's a big trip coming up. So videos might be a little bit even more so sporadic. Of course, I'll share as much as I can with you guys, as I know I will be doing a lot of things that are tarot related or spirituality related or historical related, And of course, if I bring any decks back from France, I'll do a little haul. So to start out with the decks I use the most for people, I wanted to talk about a few decks that really have been wonderful when I was doing like mid-year offering. One of them is a mass market gem that I got from actually a Riffle in Time shop, my friend Cassie's shop. But this is a mass market. You can get this anywhere, like, your local bookshop, Amazon, whatever. It's called Cosmic Comfort by Yumi Sakuwaga, 50 Tender Affirmations and Grounding Meditation from the Universe. You guys, I've used this in every single reading I've done for others and for myself actually, as a last kind of message from the universe, and I cannot tell you how great this is. Like, this is definitely one of my most used oracle decks now of the year. It's becoming a huge favorite. It's a workhorse for me. I love this so much. The way it wraps up everything perfectly. Every single time I pulled it out, it spoke exactly like a summary of what we were talking about in that reading. It gave exactly 1 or 2 sentences that summarized just the whole reading perfectly. It has a ton of wonderful, 50 cards. It covers a lot of interesting themes. It's really balanced between light and shadow. It talks about many things like ancestral trauma and fears and letting go and joy. And there's a lot of concepts here. It's very kind. It's very healing. This is a wonderful, kind of last card of a reading deck. I have quite a few of those to pull at the end to give you a last message, to kind of summarize everything we've talked about. And I've used this, like I said, for others and for myself, but it's amazing. I really cannot say how great this is, you guys. It's mass market, so it should be fairly affordable. I can't remember how much I paid for it, but it really was not that expensive. One of my most used. I love this so much. Let's pull a little card actually so you guys can see how it reads. We have rupture. Okay. Sometimes a rupture occurs in our lives that completely breaks our hearts. Our expectations and hopes and dreams for a certain kind of future are shattered beyond repair, and there's no turning back to the old ways of being. It is okay to grieve. It is okay to feel the heartbreak. Sometimes a rupture breaks us open like a geode, revealing the brilliance of our being that we otherwise would have never known. We may break, but we also learn new ways to survive and mend ourselves back together into new shapes. Another deck I absolutely loved to use to read for others, and one of my most used decks of the year is the Camena Tarot. This is a major only Tarot de Marseille deck, or I would say Tarot de Marseille inspired deck. As you're gonna see, the drawings are very different to traditional Tarot de Marseille. This is by two French ladies. We have the words by Laetitia Barbier, who is a French occultist. She's the writer of the huge tarot book, you know, the big one by Taschen, I think. And the illustrations are by Lubenesh. And this, I think it was on Kickstarter originally, but you can still buy this now. It's an indie production. You can get this directly from them. You can get this from Salon des Arcanes, which is where I got mine. And you have a major arcana set of majors, but you also have 4 extra cards, which are the Kamenas. Kamenas being spirit of the water in Greek mythology. So you have different spirit of the water here. I don't really use those, although obviously they're beautiful. But what I've been using consistently, and I mean this is very, very used. You guys, you can't tell through the screen, but it smells of Florida water because I've used this so much, and I always wash my hands in Florida water before readings. So this actually smells of cologne, which I love. This is a wonderful deck that I based my offerings for media readings around. So I gave everyone a talisman card, like anchor card for the next 6 months based on this deck. It was their major arcana, their, you know, their talisman card for the next 6 months. And so everyone I read for got one. So it was wonderful to be able to enjoy all of the deck, you know, fully. Some cards came up more so. I did have the Chariot come up quite a bit, which was lovely. And I think the other one that came up quite a bit was the Magician, which is wonderful. So, but this is a wonderful deck. It's beautiful. It's a reinterpretation of the Tarot de Marseille. The art style is wonderful. If they ever do a full deck, I mean, take my money. Come on, like this is so gorgeous. Lou is so talented as an artist. A full set of this, even if it's pips, I don't care. You know, if it's a traditional Marseille, it's fine by me. It's so beautiful. It comes on this matte, like rose petal kind of paper, and considering I've used this consistently every single day pretty much for the last 3 months, it holds up really well, especially because I dropped oil on this, and cologne and everything, and it's holding up really well. The writings by Laetitia, because I've used this deck for myself a lot before I used it in my paid readings, because I wanted to familiarize myself with this, and I still use this for myself in my monthly readings or full moon readings. When I use it for myself, I will reference the guidebook, because I do enjoy what Laetitia has to say. For each of the cards, you have about 2 pages, and she breaks down some symbolism and then gives you some interpretation. It's in English, even though it's French created, so that's great for my English speakers. And there's also wonderful exercises at the back. There's some spreads, there's some journaling prompts. This is like small but mighty. There's a lot of magic here. Continuing with decks I loved to use for others. A deck that truly blew me away is this little one, Concordance Oracle. I got this on MPC. I don't know if it's still available because it's one of those by Chanel. I couldn't put a picture on this because it's too small, the box, you know, like the size of the stickers are too big compared to this, but I just put the name, it's fine. Most of the time this doesn't live in the box. I kind of leave it on my desk. I think this is Eco Herbage. I think so. And so this, and the size of it, obviously it's quite small, you guys can see. And it is 100 cards. It is so slippery. If I try and shuffle it, it will fly everywhere. It is very slippery. And yet, I love this deck so much. I used it in most of, if not all, of my client readings, again, towards the end of the reading to get last messages. And I just really love Chanel's ways with words. So what she's done is that this is a word deck. On each of the cards, you have a main word, you have 3 key phrases, and on the back, you have different art styles. So the backs of the deck, the back of the deck is all the same. It's like these flowers, but then at the front, the art style changes. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to see the words. I'm not gonna lie, because like here, for example, right? Because of what's in the background, right? So here it says love thrives on play. Sometimes I struggle to read what's on there depending on the back. What I do love this though, it's not for the art style that I love this, it's for the words. Somehow this deck always like gave me exactly, again, just wrapping up the reading beautifully, giving exactly the right key phrases and keywords that just resonated with the reading. It felt so full of synchronicity, and this feels like a very channeled deck in the writings. So it's wonderful as a way to like wrap up a reading, get one last message. I've used this for myself consistently pretty much every day. As a, like I'll get, I'll just pull a card and then I'll get my word of the day. So what do we have for today? Reverence. Bow to the sacred, honor unlocks hidden doors, respect connects you. Beautiful. And I love the background image actually. A lot of them I recognize, like, so here we have Monet's lilies, for example, but some of them are more obscure. And again, like some of them kind of hide a bit what's on the front, but it's okay. I didn't buy it for the art style. I really bought it for the key phrases, and I think all of them are beautiful. Two decks I wanted to shout out in terms of reading for clients or for other people. I kind of reconnected with the Joy Seeker Oracle in the last few months. This is an animal deck by the same creators of the Joy Seeker Tarot. At one point I thought these were going out of print, but then I still see them available, so I don't really know what's going on here. I love this art style, this creatrix art style. I can't remember her name. I think she's from Canada. What's her name? What's your name? I forgot. Danielle Trudeau. Yeah, I think she's from Canada. Don't get me wrong, maybe not, but I love her art style. It's so beautiful. I mean, this is an animal deck. On each of the cards you have a different animal, and it's in these gorgeous like pink tones, and so I adore it. I've had this one for quite a while. I just had kind of put it on the side, like using other animal decks, and then I reconnected with it this year, and I'm using it all the time. Like I love it so much. This other card, you guys, oh, I love others so much. So on each of the cards you have an animal and a plant, and then in the guidebook it will tell you the plant and the animal, like exactly what they are. Look at this grizzly bear. What I love about these oracle decks is that they're not your stereotypical animals that you'll see in other decks. Like we have a hyena, for example, which I don't think I have in any other animal decks. We have like the lynx, the chameleon. That's always one I'm looking at for, because the chameleon is quite important to me, as we have chameleons here where I live in Reunion. So anytime a deck has a chameleon card, I'm like, take my money. Chameleons, humpback whales, they're ones I always look out for. A rooster, like how often do you see roosters in animal decks? And yet they're common, but I feel like they're often looked down on, right? We have dragonfly. Marten is one I never see. It's really good. Like also I love the art style. I mean, it's so beautiful, you guys. Look at, we have a dog card with a corgi. I love corgis. So yeah, this is really beautiful. The guidebook, it gives you it's very small, but it's enough. You get the name of the animal, a little bit, like a couple of sentences, you get the flower, and then you get journaling prompts, I think. So let's see, for the heron, for example, we have patience and tranquility, and you always have an invitation, which is like a journaling prompt or a question to reflect on. So for the heron, it says, is there a new project or opportunity in your life where you can benefit from taking a step back and going more slowly? Kind of like one I'm reuniting with. I really enjoy it. I don't have the tarot deck, but I know it exists. If you guys have the tarot deck, like the Joy Seeker Tarot, let me know if you enjoy it. Let me know. Like, I feel like these are kind of not really shown either, these decks, like the Joy Seeker Tarot, Joy Seeker Oracle. I don't see them often, so I don't know if they're super popular, but if you guys have the tarot, let me know how you enjoy it. I am curious, as I do love this art style. I've always been on the, on the fence about getting the tarot, so let me know if you guys have it, if you enjoy it. The mass market tarot deck that you probably would have seen if you watched my mass market Legenza extravaganza video where I share with you like all the new mass market decks I acquired. That was, I don't know, a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks ago. And so here is the Atypic Tarot. This is a French mass market deck. Leave it in the pouch because the box is too big. But this is French mass market, so you can get it on like Amazon.fr, Lyrica, places like that. And this is a kind of like RWS modern deck, but with wonderful colors. These wonderful colors, beautiful art style. It has really great representations. The name, the Atypic Tarot, literally means the atypical tarot, and it's made for people who feel like they don't fit in. So for queer people, for people who are maybe spoonies, for people who are neurodivergent, like for people who don't fit in the box, this tarot deck was made for us. So I love that personally. A lot of you had DM'd me or emailed me and were like, Marine, you would really like this deck. And turns out you're right. It's gorgeous. We have some like different ethnicities represented, different body types. It's just really great. The guidebook is good. If you're a beginner, obviously it's in French, but if you're a beginner, it's a good guidebook. I love all the pink horses and pink unicorns and blues. Like, this is a very colorful deck. There's a lot of beautiful sunsets or sunrise in the background. It respects the RWS, but it does its own thing as well in a way that makes a lot of sense. Like, I love, for example, that we have an older high priestess here, modern in some places, and yet there's a little bit of fantasy elements. For example, like the court cards, we have mermaids and angels. This is just a really good deck. Look at this Knight of Swords. I love it. The Seven of Cups. I always talk about it because Seven of Cups with apps, I think is genius. I've never seen that before, and yet I think it's really smart. The Fool is someone who is about to play like the game of life, like a TV game, right? It's really interesting, like what they've done. Ten of Cups is a concert. I thought that was really cool. So yeah, some of the cards are definitely more RWS clone than others, but I do really like the aesthetic. I like the vibe, and it's been a wonderful reader, one I've used quite a bit. Not necessarily just for client readings, but for readings for friends. I love this Knight of Cups. So gorgeous. Look at this like seahorse kind of vibe. It's so cute. Non-threatening in a way, that I think you could use this for anyone and everything. So this has kind of become a little bit of a workhorse for me. If I'm reading for people I don't know, or if I don't know what I'm gonna be reading on, like a friend is like, I need a reading, but I don't know if it's career or love or whatever, then I probably would bring out this because it kind of does everything in a really good way. Hey, let's move on now to the decks I've enjoyed using for me. So these are all the decks I've been using in the last 2 to 3 months for reading for myself. The first one that I've been using quite a bit is a combo actually from Chanel Days that I picked up when I found out that she was going to close her NPC store, and I've been using these two for myself non-stop. I love them so much. So again, I don't know if you guys can still get these. I'm sorry if you can't, but you guys know I'm always honest with what I use. This is what I've been using, so here we are. This is the Monochromia Oracle. It is a black and white collage photography deck. And so here are the backs. There's about 100 cards, I think, in this. I'm sure you've seen them. I'll go through them quite quickly. And this is the Moonlit Tarot, that again is by Chanel. This one, it was created, here are the backs, in kind of homage to Hecate, the Greek goddess of magic and crossroads. And so I've edged my copy in black with some couple of extra lovers card and my main decks for myself. I've been pulling from them consistently. Obviously, because they're from the same creatrix, visually they go so well, right? Black and white photography, they're really good together. But in terms of energy, you don't want to mess with this particular pairing, specifically because of this tarot deck. This is probably one of my favorite tarot decks of this year. I adore this so much. I've been, like I said, using it consistently for myself. This one does not play about, you guys. It has a very strong energy. You can feel the channeling that divine feminine, dark goddess energy. You feel it here for sure, right? Some decks that are meant for the divine feminine, I don't always feel that coming through. This one, it was created specifically for Hecate, and I definitely can feel a dark goddess kind of divine feminine energy coming through. Very very maiden mother crone. So yes, I personally work with Hecate, so I can like work with her through this, but I wouldn't limit it to that. If you guys work with other dark goddess other facets of the dark goddess, then I think you could use this. Obviously, it's just quite potent when it comes to a witchy deck when it comes to a deck that, taps into all like maiden, mother, and crone energy. This one does not play about at all. It's it's one of those that I thought I would be able to use for others. I was quite excited actually because I thought it was beautiful and they go so well together. So I was excited when I got them. I was like, yeah, I'll be able to use them for other people. It's gonna be great. I did my interview spread and it was like, no, little girl, this is just for you. You've got some stuff to work on, and maybe in the future, long time from now, we'll be willing to work with others. But for now, you've got shit to do, and so you better work, girl. And so this one has been reading me to filth in a way that is very profound and healing yet confronting. And so it's kind of been my main, I wouldn't say shadow work deck. It's kind of for everything. Spiritual deck, mostly. Like I wouldn't use this for, divination, like what's my week looking like, but any kind of larger type of reading around spirituality, around life purpose, or even things like full moon readings, new moon readings, moments of transitions. I mean, Hecate, she's the goddess of the crossroads, so you get it. This is wonderful, and I adore this combo. Another goddess deck I've been absolutely adoring is this one. This is by Ellen Lorenzi Prince. I managed to get my hands on this thanks to my lovely friend Galencia. Again, I'll make sure to leave her Instagram and YouTube down below. This is the Greek mythology goddess. It's an indie deck that is not too expensive, but hard to get because they only ship in the US. I was always on my wish list, but since 2022, but I never thought I'd be able to get my hands on it until a very kind soul offered to ship them to me. So thank you so much again, Galencia, if you're watching, because I love this so much. So this is the Greek Goddess Tarot, like I said, by Ellen Lorenzi Prince. I love Ellen's work. She's one of my favorite creatrix when it comes to goddess decks. I think she's very thorough. She's done a lot of research, and her words and art are magical. So it comes with a guidebook, which is wonderful. We have quotes from like Greek mythology texts like the Metamorphoses, etc. Who's on the card and the meaning, because this is set up in a way that the suits are divided by the four main goddesses of the Greek mythology, or at least four of the most known ones. So for arrows, you'd have the story of Artemis. For swords, you'll have Athena. For cups, you'll have Aphrodite. And for coins or grains, you'll have Demeter. And then all of the majors are actually focused on a lot of like goddesses before Olympus time. So like Titan times, I would say. And again, the guidebook will tell you exactly who is depicted. So this, for example, we have Athena here. It's awesome. Like if you're a Greek mythology fan like me, this is everything. It's very profound. This is again one I would not use. Here's my girl. I would not use for other people. Precious to me, this deck. It feels very personal. It's a wonderful reader. It's very kind. I really expected this deck to have its voice come through as one of the four goddesses depicted, right? Either Artemis, Aphrodite, Athena, or Demeter. Turns out that working with this deck, the energy coming through and the voice coming through is actually older, and is actually, I would say, more so Rhea / Cybele, right? And so I love that. I'm doing a lot of research on at this moment in time, Rhea and Cybele, and I'm doing a lot of research on, in my own time right now, on how patriarchy has erased a lot of the more wild goddesses from history, particularly goddesses such as Lilith, Cybele, Rhea, Ishtar. They were all very much linked to nature. They were part of wildness. They're always associated with animals. Yet through patriarchy, they have been turned into a demonized version of the woman, right? Instead of being revered, suddenly they are being turned into the villain. Lilith being one of those examples. So I'm doing a lot of research on that at the moment, this year, on like different mythologies, trying to go back to the oldest goddesses from the matriarchies I can find. And so it's been really interesting that the voice coming through very much matches Cybele and Rhea, rather than more so Olympus goddesses. Although obviously some of these Olympus goddesses date back way more than the text. And then again, through text written by men, goddesses such as Athena were changed and transformed. And even, I haven't watched yet the Odyssey movie. I will go at some point, but I already know probably that they're gonna do Circe dirty, and they're gonna do other goddesses dirty because it was made by a man. So let's be real, they probably didn't put the respect on our goddesses, but this deck does, and I love it, and it's beautiful, and it has a wonderful guidebook. Let's talk about the Wild Eden Tarot, which is another one I've absolutely adored in recent months. It's a mass market deck by Lo Scarabeo. It's by Gloria Pizzilli and Alice Mastrolejo. As the name suggests, the Wild Eden Tarot, this is a deck that shows people in wildness, and everyone is nude. Because this is kind of like imagining the world before there was civilization. So there's a lot of animals, and then all the human beings are naked. So we know that YouTube doesn't like that so much. So I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to share with you guys. That being said, this is such a powerful deck, you guys. I love it so much. It's very deep. If you guys like the Lubenko Tarot, for example, which you might know is one of my favorite decks of all time, this is on par when it comes to energy. I would also link this in terms of energy and depth to the Deviant Moon even. This slaps, when it comes to profound readings, to go deep, to look at things relating to your perception of yourself, your body image. This is a very judgment deck, right? So it's gonna talk about things like life callings, revelations, looking at the mirror and seeing what's truly there. It is a kind deck. It's not a deck that will necessarily slap you in the face at all. Actually, I have found it to be quite kind, but it does not play about. So there's a intensity from this deck that feels very scorpionic in energy, and yet very healing and very profound. So I love this so much. I've used it personally to help me through some stuff relating to body image, but also through just perception of myself, of others. And there's something about the animals coexisting with the humans which makes this a very powerful reader. This is really great. Look at this hermit. I'm hoping I won't get banned, you guys, for sharing this deck. If you want to see more of it, there's people who did reviews, who managed to do reviews. Look at this magician. I love it so much. It's really beautiful. The art style is wonderful. The guidebook is great because it actually tells you why it was depicted this way. It's not a random, here's a couple of keywords. The guidebook is wonderful. I really encourage you to read the guidebook. All the aces have different animals which are beautiful. And that judgment card is probably one of my favorite judgment cards I've ever seen. I adore it so much. This kind of finger from God touching the third eye, downloading information that's turning out into a butterfly to show transformation, evolution, rising out of a chrysalis, is so profound and just beautifully moving. I love this card so much, and this is the energy of the deck. Absolutely. So the Wild Eden Tarot, really wonderful mass market deck, you guys. I can't recommend it enough. Let's talk about a tarot deck I don't think I've shared on my channel before. I think I forgot to include it in a haul, now I think of it. So it's probably the first time you'll see it on this channel. And it is the Horses Tarot. I had gotten this from Vermillon Collection quite a while ago. It's one of those decks by Inner Lit that they do for all of the Chinese zodiac year. So as we are in the year of the horse, they released the Horse Tarot, but last year there was a Serpent Tarot, and the year before there was a Rabbit Tarot. So they tend to do it for every astrological year of the Chinese zodiac, which is super cool. I was born in a horse year in Chinese astrology, so that's part of why I thought I would get this deck at the time, and I thought it was very beautiful. beautiful. So that's also part of it. And the other reason why I wanted to get this deck at the time was because it's a very like masculine presenting deck. There's a lot of men in this deck, which I don't have a lot of tarot decks featuring so much like masculine energy. So I thought that it would have a very yang energy, right? It's not really. Turns out that this deck is not really as fiery and as active and as masculine in energy as I assumed. This deck is actually very sensitive. I've been using it consistently since the start of the year now, but I've used it more so in the last few months. So that's why I wanted to talk to you guys about it. It's extremely beautiful. Like, I love the art style. It's really beautiful. You're gonna see it's a horse tarot, so it kind of inspires itself from Chinese culture and the way that they would work with horses and live with horses. From watching walkthroughs before I bought it, like very early on in the year, I really assumed that this was gonna be, like I said, a very yang deck in energy. But I was completely wrong, because after working with this deck consistently for a few months, this is actually a very sensitive deck. But I guess horses are very sensitive, so that makes sense, right? Like, I've always heard, I'm not a big horse girl, in the sense of, you know, I'm not that passionate about horses. I mean, I think they're beautiful creatures, but they're not my favorite animals. But I do know that they're very empathetic and obviously very sensitive creatures, that people can use horses to help with lots of different things, to help with people who are sick, to help with disabled kids. Like, I know horses are extremely sensitive souls. So maybe that's why this deck is so sensitive in energy. Like, it just surprised me because the drawings feel so yang and fiery, but this deck actually in energy is very watery, kind, sensitive, and pathetic, and not at all interested in things about passion or career or anything like that, but just wants to chat about interpersonal relationships, emotions, and what's in your heart. Look at this awesome justice. She's so beautiful. So this is a very interesting deck that completely surprised me, right? I had an idea in my head, preconceived idea, that this was going to be very much the energy of that deck. The Eight of Wands, you know, very much like rushing in, galloping, fast, yang energy, very masculine. Actually, this is the energy of the deck. Very much so. Very Cancerian, very sensitive, very wants to talk about feelings and things like that. So that's interesting. It's beautiful though. I'm happy I got this one. I think they've done a wonderful job. The work between the white space and the colors, I think they've done really, really good. In the depiction, right, with the brush strokes, it's really beautiful. Like, the artist is so talented. There's another deck that I've seen, I think by the same artist, the Daoshi, I think, Daoshi Tarot. I think it's the same artist also on Vermilion Collection, and it looks incredible. It's black and white. I'm very tempted to pick it up. I have a soft spot for decks that features these kind of like brush strokes, really beautiful Chinese culture decks. I love those. We have a guidebook which is half in English and half in Chinese, and it does tell you that it's it gives you the inspiration behind this. So the year of the horse, it explains about the Cheng dynasty and how horses have been one of the earliest domesticated animals in China. So I love that it gives us a good background on the inspiration behind the deck. And then you do have, for each of the card, explanation as to what's on the card, and then you have upward and reverse meaning. So honestly, the guidebook is good. Like, it's not just, again, stereotypical keywords. You have some explanation as to the imagery, the inspiration, like any references to culture is there. We have this beautiful image. I really like this. Really beautiful Chinese creation. Okay, let's continue because I have so many decks to talk about. And let's talk about the decks I'm using right now. So all the ones I've shared were the ones I've used in the last couple of months. The ones I'm using the most right now, so towards like mid-July, end of July, I've been in this very classical art mood, and I think it's because I'm going to Paris soon, and I am planning on visiting a lot of historical buildings and museums, as much as I'm going to be physically able to, obviously. But my friends and I are making plans to see which beautiful historical like buildings we're gonna be able to visit together. So I'm definitely like feeling myself inspired by Baroque era that I know I'm gonna be immersed in when I go back to Paris. So the two decks I've been using consistently for myself to kind of quench my thirsts until I am gonna be traveling is first the Revival Tarot by Tarotco Studio. This is the first edition, and the Lacrimosa Tarot. This is by Rose Bay. So this is both indie decks. This one you can get on Tarotco Studio. This one you can get on Make Playing Cards. They're both very different, even though they have both like they're both using pre-existing classical art. The vibes are very different. I would say this is a very spiritual deck, and this is a very day-to-day deck for me. Like, this is a workhorse I can use for career, I can use for love readings, I can use for day-to-day, I can use for divination, I like anything. Like, this is a workhorse I can use for anything. This, for me, is more so to do with spiritual readings, maybe past life readings. Let's talk about rose-based decks first, the Lacrimosa. I have the edition without any gilding, because I don't care for gilding too much anymore, you guys. I'm over it. I love matte edging, like, because that's lasting really well, but I've noticed that gilding that's metallic eventually will flake off, so I'm okay to just edge it myself. I need to edge this in black, actually. Here are the backs, and so I'm sure you've all seen the Lacrimosa by now. It's really beautiful the way that Rose Bay has zoomed in on a lot of like elements to give us a new perspective. It has a very unique voice. I think this one, like I said, to me, it's a very spiritual deck. It's one that's wonderful for past life reading, for like channeling. For me, this is a High Priestess deck. I use it for channeling. It is a very, I would say, sacred kind of reverence type of deck that I would not really use for, months ahead or week ahead. It doesn't really want to chat about that. It's more so interested to talk about bigger life stuff, like life purpose and like past life callings and karmic wounds, and it's a deeper deck in that sense. That is wonderful. This Eight of Swords is everything. I've been really adoring using this year. It took me a while to connect to this because I've had this since last year, and somehow last year it did not call to me. Sometimes it happens that I'll get a deck and I'll put it on the side, and even though I know I'm going to work with it, maybe it's not at the time that I acquire it that I'll work with it, and that's fine. Like this I got last year. I barely touched it last year, but this year I use it consistently, like for specifically, like I said, any deeper readings relating to karmic wounds, relating to spiritual lessons, anything like that. This is the one I'm bringing out for myself or for others, and it delivers. It really delivers. I'm very tempted to pick up an extra copy, and I rarely do that. But I know that now you can get the version with the minors titles on them, and I think I might like that. I love this Page of Wands. Page of Wands is one of my favorite cards in tarot, and this one is just chef's kiss. I love it. Yeah, this is wonderful. And then we have the Revival Art Tarot, which this is the first edition. So I got this in 2019, right when it came out, but I think there's a second edition now. I don't know if the first edition is still in print or not. The second edition has completely different artwork. So I think probably you can still get this one as well, because it's different art style, so I don't know why they would not make this still available. It's slightly larger and taller than stereotypical tarot size. The one thing I don't love is the backs. They're a little bit too busy for me. I mean, they're very cute, but they're a bit too busy for my liking. However, I've had this deck, like I said, since 2019. I'm using it very, very consistently, and it's holding up so well. Because I've shuffled this deck to death, you guys. Like, I've used this a lot in the last few years. I always go back to it, and it's one of my most shuffled ones, and it's holding up really, really well. So I don't know what this cardstock is, but it's really durable. And this one, again, have found art, and I love this so much. Especially because, like I said to you guys, I'm going to Paris soon, and hopefully will be able to visit if my body allows a few places that have been on my list to visit for ever since I've been a child, really. Le Palais Garnier, which is where the opera is, and it's very baroque and beautiful, and I've always wanted to visit, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be able to visit. I also really want to go to La Conciergerie, which is a more medieval, not baroque, it's more a medieval kind of building where Marie Antoinette was imprisoned, so I really want to visit that. And of course, I want to go to the Louvre if I can. Again, I don't know what I'm going to be able to do because it's going to be depending on my health. But considering I'm there 2 weeks, I'm hoping I can at least squeeze 2 or 3 visits. And I really want to go to La Sainte-Chapelle, which is a beautiful church, Gothic church behind Notre Dame. Like everyone goes to Notre Dame, which is great because obviously it's beautiful. But behind is a church that not as well known. It's called La Sainte-Chapelle, and yet it's probably one of the most beautiful Gothic churches that is in Paris. Since I've been sick, I've not been back to France. I'm excited to just connect back to my roots. Like my family is not from Paris. Now a lot of them live there, so it will be a nice opportunity to enjoy, beauty. Like I cannot wait to go and see some of these beautiful paintings in real life. So I've really been adoring using the Revival Art Tarot. It's gorgeous. I use it all the time. It's really well thought out, the way that they've chosen like pre-existing art style for each tarot archetype. I adore it. Like this is my favorite card, the 6 of Cups. It's so sweet. Really sweet. And yeah, this is wonderful. I love found art decks, you guys. I'm especially this year, I don't know why, I'm finding myself going back to a lot of my found art decks, like the Golden Tarot, the Lacrimosa, this one, the Lua Tarot even, which I know is out of print, but it's more Victorian engravings, and that's wonderful too. I'm really in a moment where I'm loving this type of art style right now. We're gonna wrap things up with 2 Oracle decks. If you guys are still here, thank you so much. This is one long epic video. I had a lot of decks to chat. I had been so behind on catching up with you guys, what I've been using and stuff, so thank you for sticking around. The 2 Oracle decks I wanted to shout out are 2 mass market Oracle decks that I've been using for myself, and these 2 are living on my bedside tables, and I kind of swap between the one I pull from every day. We have the Queen Mab Oracle. This is by Tess Whitehurst and published by Blue Angel, and we have l'Oracle des âmes stellaires by Iriadel and Alistair Mathieu, and this is a French mass market deck published by, who is this by? Arcana Sacra. I've had this since last year even, but I don't think I've ever shared it on my channel that I had it. And yet it's definitely a beloved deck of mine. Specifically this year, I'm using it all the time. Like it's been living on my bedside table since the beginning of the year, and I really adore it. I love the art style, but what I love the most is the writings. It somehow always seems to tell me exactly what I need to know at the moment when I need to hear it. The art style is very beautiful. It's by, I hate when they put just the name of the author and not the name of the artist. Like, that's annoying. Tess Whitehurst is the author, but who is the artist? Come on, it shouldn't be hard to find. Hello? Okay. Mélanie Delon. Oh, she's a French artist. Mélanie Delon. I didn't even know the artist was French. Gorgeous. And also Cecilia GF. Oh, there's 2 artists. Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, there's 2 artists in this, but you can't really tell, I don't think, that there's 2 different art. I mean, to me, I don't really see incoherence here in the art style. Gorgeous art style. And then on each of the cards, you have a key phrase and a number. This is obviously inspired Queen Mab by the Queen of the Fae, like in Shakespeare's Midsummer Night Dream. So it's very much inspired by the Fairy Queen. And yet, this is a very empowering deck. So this is a deck I go to when I feel low, when I feel like shit, when I feel like life is hard and I want to curl up in a, fetal position and everything gets too much. I go to this deck. It's very much a deck that talks about hardship, but also rebirth. It's not going to cuddle you. The energy of it, I would say, is very much like going to the underworld and coming back up to see spring. So when you're going through a hard time, it will meet you where you are in its messages, because it's not gonna spiritual pass you and tell you everything is gonna be okay when it's clearly not okay, right? Like in the way that it's like giving the messages. This is empowering because it meets you exactly where you are. This is the card on the box, by the way. Beautiful. So it meets you where you are. When things are bad, it's going to tell you, yeah, you know what? That's tough. But it will always help you to rise up from that kind of low point of despair. And it's a very empowering deck. Like, this is a deck to remind you of your power, to remind you of your strengths, to remind you of your attributes. And I find it extremely helpful, supportive, kind. This is probably my most used oracle deck recently, over the last few months, and it will continue to accompany me. I'm even tempted to take this with me on my trip because I kind of don't want to be away from it. I really like this for myself. Like, I found the messages to be really helpful, and like I said, to give me exactly what I need to know at the right time. I really love this. And it's another one that I've had since last year, and last year I was not that interested in working with it, but this year it seems to be like perfect. Like, it really tells me exactly what I need to know when I need to hear it. I do really enjoy the writings in there. So for each of the card, you have 2 to 3 pages, and like I said, it's very empowering deck. Like, I don't know, just, you know, gives you a bit of a kick up the butt, but then it gives you a hug. And most of the time I need that. So I love this. I am very curious, you guys, to potentially get the Vampire Fae Oracle, which are by the same artists. I think one of the artists, maybe the French lady, Mélanie Delon, I think, did the art style. And it's by Tess Whitehurst as well. It came out early this year. It has a similar aesthetic as this, right? The Vampire Fae. I'm sure you guys have seen it. Let me know if you have it, if you enjoy it, because I'm very tempted to pick it up. The deck I want to talk about today is this mass market gem, French mass market gem, l'Oracle des âmes stellaires, literally the oracle of stellar souls. I talked about this one in my mass market extravaganza video, saying that so this I didn't bought. I got it from a friend, like a trade, and I had said, you know, if it was up to me, I wouldn't have bought this deck, because I had the preconceived notion that this was going to be a very starseed kind of indigo child vibe deck, and that's not my vibe at all. I don't like starseed stuff. I don't like things that are too cosmic. So I had some preconceived notions of this deck that we were not going to get along. And yet, it's by one of my favorite artists ever, Alissa Mathieu. She is so talented. I love her art style. She has done many oracle decks for French creators. She does, she's a wonderful Instagram page. I'll leave her down below. She does commissions where she draws gods and goddesses for people. Like, she's so talented. I love her stuff. And also, Iriadel is the author, and I love her other oracle decks, which are very feminist, very badass, very, like, not the preconceived notion I had. So I should have known, considering who made it, that it wasn't going to be some fluffy spiritual bypassing bullshit. I should have known. And I realized very quickly that, yeah, this is actually very awesome. And I love it so much. Like, it's been sitting on my bedside table ever since I've had it. So I've used it all months, maybe even more than a month now, like since, mid-June. So it's great. It's so good, you guys. Not only is it beautiful, obviously, you're going to see, like, Alicia's art style is so beautiful. It's very cosmic in essence because of this idea of, you know, drawing, knowing, and knowledge from the universe. Yet it's not starseedy, right? There's some aspect of the starseed discourse that I've seen online that can be quite toxic in its ability to spiritual bypass, and or to feel like it's telling people, oh, you're the chosen one, you're different from everyone else, you were chosen, you come from another planet because you're special. And that sometimes leads people to have an inflated ego, and suddenly they think they're better than everyone, and that to me is quite toxic and dangerous. This deck is not that at all. It is drawing knowledge from something higher in the cosmos, yes, but more so in a way that it's drawing information from the how can I say that, the universe, spirit source, and our universal consciousness. So in that way, it's going higher than us humans, but it's still very much rooted in the day-to-day, because the keyword, like the guidebook you'll see, I'll tell you, it has two messages. It has one message that feels very channeled and that does speak in a way that feels very spiritual, high vibe, very ethereal. But then it has another message that is very rooted in day-to-day life, and that is very much in like, you're still a human being living on earth kind of way. And here's what you need to do when you apply that wisdom, that higher wisdom, and you download it to the here and now. So this deck is, whilst it draws inspiration and has channeled knowledge from, you know, this kind of like energy of Akashic records and higher self and spirit and source cosmic kind of knowledge, it is still very grounded in the day-to-day. This deck is quite special. It's really special. So for each of the cards, like I said, you have messages from the stars. So this is the more high vibe message, you know, feels quite channeled and spiritual. And then you have the terrestrial echo. And so this is taking that wisdom and applying it in something much more grounded that you can relate to in the day-to-day. Obviously it's all in French, it's French deck, you guys, but nowadays there's no excuse. You can use your phones to translate things super easy. And then you have the timeless wisdom of the card. So you have key phrases, and these might seem small, but the choices of words, so profound. Like sometimes I'll just read one word and I'm like, boom, that's exactly what I needed to hear, and I feel like it touched my soul, and that's it. Like I can just one word, but it's the way that they've chosen each word that just is, this is medicine, truly. And then I love that we also have a music for a song for every single card, which is really cool. I think that's awesome. So this is a very special deck. Like I said, I've been using it consistently for the last month and a half when I need advice from my guides. Like, you know, the Queen of a Mab is very much like, I'm feeling low and I need a little bit of a kick up the butt in a loving way. This is like, I need to get like information or guidance from something larger than me. I need to tap into my higher self, my guides, spirit, source, God, whatever you guys want to call it. It does a great job of that. It's very like third eye chakra, crown chakra kind of vibes. It's not fluffy, it's not love and light. It will talk about trauma, it will talk about grief, all of the things, but it does that in a way that feels wonderfully channeled yet grounded. And so I'm really surprised by this. It's another great surprise. Like I said, I don't think I would have bought it myself if my friend hadn't given it to me, and yet this is turning to be a huge favorite for me. Like, I'm really surprised how much I love this. Okay, my friends, this is it. These were all the decks I wanted to chat, all the decks, all the books. Thank you so much if you've made it this far. I appreciate you all so much, whether you're watching, commenting, liking, sharing, just you being here. Honestly, it means the world. I'm so grateful for you. So just wanted to send a huge hug to everyone. I hope you're all doing good. I hope you're all taking good care of yourself. And till next time, I'm sending you so much good vibes, and keep navigating the waves of your soul. Bye.